remember back when we did the EIS in 2009, we talked about the fact that there was going to be a loss of parking. We acknowledged it, was clear in the 2009 document. What we said at that time is that there are individuals around the port of entry who are going to deliver that parking, deliver those functions. And the fact is that we've already seen documentation for people planning to bring parking to Virginia Avenue and Via Della Plaza. But that's actually kind of a separate issue. The fact of the matter is that we're building a facility that's going to serve 150, 160,000 people a day today. It's going to serve closer to 300,000 people in 20 years. We need to make sure that we build a facility that meets the long-term needs and goals of this region. And so we're very sensitive to the issues that people brought up. We had an environmental process where people made those feelings known, and we've taken them to heart. And quite honestly, the folks you see in this room are not the ones who are eventually going to make the decisions about what happens with it. Again, we're going to go through a negotiation process with affected property owners, and I'm hoping we're going to find a mutually beneficial solution. And again, I'm just going to stop this discussion about the site because the fact is that, again, it's a perfect chair for us to discuss it.
I'm just going to say, you can't ask people to have to keep walking further and further across busy streets.
Absolutely, and again, that's the focus of our project, to make sure that we allow people to cross with a minimum amount of walking. That's why I brought the Phase 1C project with the new southbound crossing on the east side. Again, what the PEDWES facility and the Virginia Avenue Transit Center are about are providing resources for folks who are crossing the border, increases in mobility, additional access to transit. Again, there is a lot to like about Virginia Avenue and the PEDWES facility. And I think if you look at it fashionably about the fact that previously we not had a place for people to be picked up at the border, now there will be. We haven't had a single point of north and south crossing. Now we have two. So I think that what we've done is we've provided a lot of flexibility. The affected property owners. We've not started the fair negotiations as part of your uniform relocation. And so that discussion really needs to be put off until actually the final decision has been made about what the project, the amount of site is required for the project, and the allocation of what happens with that, the remaining sites. The fact of the matter is that we're still in the planning and due diligence phase. We're going to have a conversation with the duty-free folks in a relatively short amount of time. And again, our expectation is we're going to find a mutually agreeable solution. And so that's where we're at today. But again, I appreciate the passion that folks bring. And again, while a project of this size, there are going to be elements that people may or may not like. The fact of the matter is that we're building a piece of a facility that's going to meet the needs of this region for many years to come. And again, we've done so in a sensitive and in a way that includes the input from folks in this room and folks within the region. And I think that you can point out elements within the project that are a direct outcome of the voices in this room. And so I feel very good about the process we've gone through. And I look forward to the next step, because again, we're going to be constructing Phase 3 soon. We're going to be constructing the pedestrian bus facility. And again, there's a lot of things that have to be completed before that.
And I think that obviously people at your level are great people, they do good work. But the decision, you don't get to make the decisions, right? Just like these people don't get to make the decisions. We need to bring the decision, the people who make the decision, rooftops, those kind of people down here so that they can feel this energy from the people. Otherwise, you go back and you have to go through the chain of command. By the time she gets it well, deal with it. The community people deal with it. Well, we need to have, is there any chance we can get her to come in November? Is there any chance we can get somebody from the federal level? I don't know who. I mean, maybe Tajarini would like like to come. I mean, this is a big, big issue. This is the most crossed border in the world, not in America, in the world. And he's in charge of all of that kind of stuff. Is there any way we could bring him or convince him to come? I don't know. Lo que le digo es que él tiene una posición y es muy importante la posición que él tiene, pero él no hace la decisión. Él tiene jefes y jefes y más jefes y más jefes, como todos nosotros. Pero si él puede invitar pues, que vengan para que conozcan, esta es la frontera más cruzada en el mundo. En el mundo. So, can you at least promise to invite her? And she said, yeah,
well, you know, again, I would remind the folks that we actually had our deputy PBS commissioner sit in the CRC a couple years ago. Yeah, you know, I got to tell you that the folks at the highest levels of my agency are very focused on the San Ysidro project. It is the largest project GSA has right now. So yes, they're focused on it and these issues. And they actually, I got to tell you, I've had more interaction with our leadership reviewing issues of correspondence that people have brought to bear than anything else. So
can we
they
get
listen.
your word that you will
Absolutely.
that San Ysidro issues her an invitation?
I will carry back that message tomorrow.
Thank you.
And I would like to say that I think in the meantime, if you could just communicate to the decision makers that in the process of making those negotiations, that it's not just for the acquisition of the land, but perhaps negotiations in consideration of their proposal, that you will have the community support, you will have the business community support for an alternative design. You know, even if it does delay the project a little bit, you will have the support in that, and just communicate that.
Yeah, well, we will. Again, I think they're very familiar and very sympathetic to this issue. But I just want to, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out a couple of things. And that is that, you know, it's not a uniform lobby that believes one way or the other about issues of various projects that have been suggested. There are letters of opposition to that project. But again, there's a special obligation we have when they're requiring a site to minimize the amount of site necessary, and that's what we're doing right now. That's the process we're going now. But also there's one other major issue that has to be addressed, and that is that Sandag projects between now and 23 about a 90% increase in the number of crossings in San Ysidro. Okay? So we know what the condition is today. And imagine if you had twice as many people crossing. Now, one of the things that we need to be doing is trying to look at scalable solutions. Solutions that allow us, without a major overhaul of the project, to expand capacity. The reality is there's very little expansion capacity on the east side, and really very little capacity on the west side. So that's one of the things that we've been talking about when we have this discussion. And so understand that we have a balancing act. The balancing act is the dynamic economic region that San Diego Tijuana. It's the 160,000 people a day who cross the international border to San Diego. It's the affected property owners. It's the community that we serve and that we're obligated to provide adequate facilities for. Again, there's a lot of competing interests that are about to bear. But we're being a lot stronger and we're a lot better informed through this process and through the input from a community and folks taking part in the environmental process and coming out of the workshops and all. So again, I want to thank everyone. I understand that may not be sufficient for some folks. But again, we appreciate and we've taken into consideration this conversation. And again, it's folks within my reporting chain are good about it. So again, I appreciate your input. So thank you.